ophthalmology, ENT, and radiology have been, and I think it's been historic that those three are largely considered. I mean, neurosurgery is up there as well, but the difference is that neurosurgery is a 7-year residency, and it's kind of self-selects people out, so the pool of applicants is a lot smaller. Ortho's there's really not, everybody's competitive. I mean, that's the thing is, you also have to look at it this way. It's not just, can you get a slot? It's, can you get a slot where you want to go? Okay, so, right, so let's take a subspecialty that I don't know very much about, but I can at least speak a little bit on this. Let's just take pediatrics, right? Most people would say there's a lot of pediatricians out there, and getting a slot in peds is I wouldn't say easy, but it's a lot easier than ophthalmology because there's a lot more slots. There's only 16,000 ophthalmologists in the country. I can't tell you the number of, I don't exactly know how many ophthalmology residency slots there are, but there's not a lot, all right? And I can tell you there's probably 5 or 10 times more pediatric slots than there are ophthalmology slots. So by the numbers themselves, because it's so small, and the compensation that historically ophthalmologists have had, the surgical, the niceties of our surgery, as I said, we get to sit down. We don't spend long hours in hospitals. As a matter of fact, we don't even have much to do with hospitals anymore, which is great. Our call requirements are, depending on where you are, they can be very minimal. And that lends to a different lifestyle. And so it's those kinds of lifestyle things that drives the competitiveness up of this field. Same thing with radiology. You can now sit in your home and literally have a home office and never log in just log in and never have to clock in anywhere as an on-site radiologist. And that's what, those kinds of things are what drives people into these specialties, because, those lifestyle things are, I think one of the great things about seeing generational change, okay, from the so-called greatest generation to baby boomers, they're a different mindset of work ethic and vacation time and things like that than my generation. I'm in Gen X. You got the millennial generation that has different ideas on work and life balance, and those things. That's why ophthalmology, ENT, these sorts of subspecialties, radiology, are going to always be in demand because they balance lifestyle, or are easier to balance lifestyle than some of these other professions. But just going back to peds, if there's a larger percentage if there's a larger number of slots, your percentage by rule goes up. But it's still hyper competitive if you wanted to go to some of the best pediatric programs, right? I mean, if you have your mindset that you want to go to, I don't know, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia because they're one of the top in the country, well, that's going to be hyper competitive. I mean, so everything's relative. I mean, if you're trying to get to the top of everything, you already have set your course. You're going to, but if you're just trying to get a slot, I think that if you're personable and you do the kinds of things that, show that you're interested in the subspecialty, your chance is as good as anybody else. But I don't know what makes a residency program choose people or not choose people. I don't even know how that inner office stuff works. I do know that, I went to residency in the military, so it's just different. But, I did multiple rotations with them out there, and I would advise people to use their if they're in medical school going on to residency, they would use some of their clinical rotation times to literally go to the spots that they want to end up. If you're from the West Coast and you want to go back to, doesn't matter, UCLA, you better be in Jewel Stein Eye Clinic, because they're going to be more favorable to you if they know you. And that's just common sense, right? I mean, if somebody has some time, even 6 weeks, 4 weeks on an elective rotation in a place, getting to know the actual people that are going to be sitting around in a room passing judgment on your application matters. You can't just be an interview in a room for 30 minutes.